Rich Mental Reboot, written and published by Rich Audiobooks. Your mind is running an operating system that was installed long before you had any say in the matter. Like outdated software that keeps crashing your computer, these early money programs are likely sabotaging your financial potential. Every time you think, "I can't afford that," "money doesn't grow on trees," or "rich people are just lucky," you're executing lines of code from your scarcity script, inherited programming that typically begins in childhood, as we absorb our family's relationship with money through observation and direct instruction. These experiences weren't just passing moments. They became the foundation of your financial operating system, running silently in the background of every money decision you make today. The scarcity script manifests in subtle yet powerful ways, automatically tensing up when checking your bank balance, feeling guilty about spending money on yourself, or believing there's never enough to go around. These reactions aren't rational responses to your current financial reality. They're automated behaviors triggered by outdated programming that affects your career choices, relationships, health decisions, and overall quality of life. The cost of maintaining this scarcity mindset extends far beyond your bank account, keeping you playing small and convincing you that limitation is simply your lot in life. But just as a computer can be wiped clean and reprogrammed, your mind can be freed from these restrictive thought patterns. This book is your complete guide to performing a mental reboot, uninstalling the scarcity script that's been running your financial life and installing a new operating system designed for wealth creation. You'll learn to rewire your neural pathways, interrupt limiting loops, and program your mind for daily wealth wins until abundant thinking becomes your natural default state. Lesson 1. Uninstalling the scarcity script. Your mind is running an operating system that was installed long before you had any say in the matter. Like outdated software that keeps crashing your computer, these early money programs are likely sabotaging your financial potential. Every time you think, "I can't afford that," "money doesn't grow on trees," or "rich people are just lucky," you're executing lines of code from your scarcity script. This inherited programming typically begins in childhood, where we absorb our family's relationship with money through observation and direct instruction. Perhaps you watched your parents argue about bills, heard relatives criticize wealthy people, or internalized messages about the virtue of struggling. These experiences weren't just passing moments. They became the foundation of your financial operating system, running silently in the background of every money decision you make today. The scarcity script manifests in subtle yet powerful ways. You might find yourself automatically tensing up when checking your bank balance, feeling guilty about spending money on yourself, or believing that there's never enough to go around. These reactions aren't rational responses to your current financial reality. They're automated behaviors triggered by your outdated programming. The cost of maintaining this scarcity mindset extends far beyond your bank account. It affects your career choices, relationships, health decisions, and overall quality of life. When you're operating from a place of not enough, you're less likely to pursue opportunities, negotiate for better compensation, or invest in your future. The scarcity script keeps you playing small, convincing you that limitation is simply your lot in life. To begin the uninstallation process, we must first acknowledge that these beliefs are learned, not innate. Just as a computer can be wiped clean and reprogrammed, your mind can be freed from these restrictive thought patterns. The first step is becoming aware of your scarcity triggers, those moments when your old programming kicks in automatically. Start noticing when you make decisions from a place of fear rather than possibility. Pay attention to the language you use around money. Words like can't, never, always, and impossible are often indicators that your scarcity script is running. Listen to your internal dialogue when you see luxury items, successful people, or financial opportunities. The judgments, assumptions, and emotional reactions you experience are valuable clues about the specific programs you need to uninstall. Challenge these thoughts by questioning their validity. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to afford that," ask yourself, is this an absolute truth, or is it my programming speaking? Begin gathering evidence that contradicts your scarcity beliefs. Look for examples of people who have created wealth from circumstances similar to or worse than yours. The uninstallation process requires patience and persistence. You're not just changing surface-level thoughts. You're rewiring deep neural pathways that have been strengthened over years or decades. Each time you recognize and question a scarcity thought, you're creating a small crack in the old programming. Each time you choose to believe in possibility instead of limitation, you're weakening the hold of the scarcity script. This process might feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind may resist, trying to pull you back to familiar thought patterns. This resistance is normal. It's your brain's way of trying to maintain the status quo. But just as a muscle grows stronger through resistance training, your capacity for abundant thinking grows stronger through consistently challenging these limiting beliefs. As you begin this uninstallation process, remember that you're not erasing your past experiences or denying real financial challenges. Instead, you're creating space for new possibilities by removing the artificial limitations that have been constraining your financial potential. You're preparing your mental operating system for an upgrade wealth that will allow you to process opportunities, manage resources, and create wealth in ways your current programming cannot imagine. Lesson 2. Rewriting the wealth narrative. Your relationship with money tells a story, but who authored that tale? Most of us carry narratives about wealth that were written by others, our parents, society, early experiences, or even random events that left lasting impressions. These stories become the invisible scripts directing our financial decisions and determining our monetary ceiling. To reset your brain for wealth, you must first become the conscious author of your money story. Consider how your current wealth narrative was formed. Perhaps you witnessed your parents arguing about bills, internalized messages that money doesn't grow on trees, or absorbed subtle cultural beliefs about the morality of wealth. These experiences created a framework through which you now filter all financial information and opportunity. Your brain automatically searches for evidence to confirm these inherited beliefs, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps you trapped in familiar financial patterns. The good news is that your wealth narrative isn't carved in stone. It's written in pencil, waiting to be revised. The first step in this rewrite is to examine your existing story with curiosity rather than judgment. What themes emerge when you think about money? Are you casting yourself as the victim, the struggler, or the perpetual underdog? Notice how these roles might be limiting your financial potential. Now it's time to craft a new narrative that serves your highest financial aspirations. This isn't about creating fantasy or denial. It's about consciously choosing the beliefs and perspectives that will shape your financial future. Start by identifying the wealthy version of yourself that exists in potential. What does this person believe about money? How do they make decisions? What opportunities do they see that your current self might miss? Your new wealth narrative should feel both exciting and believable. If you've always seen yourself as someone who isn't good with money, your revised story might begin with recognizing your capacity to learn and grow. If you've believed that wealth only comes through struggle, your new narrative could embrace the possibility of money flowing easily when you're aligned with your highest value contribution. The brain craves evidence to support any new belief system. As you rewrite your wealth narrative, begin collecting proof that supports your emerging story. Did you make a smart financial decision today? That's evidence of your growing money wisdom. Did you spot an opportunity you would have missed before? That's your wealth awareness expanding. Each small win becomes a building block in your new narrative. Language plays a crucial role in this reconstruction. The words you use when thinking or talking about money literally program your neural pathways. Replace phrases like, "I can't afford it," with, "How could I create the resources for this?" Transform "money is hard to come by" into "money flows to me through multiple channels." These linguistic shifts might feel artificial at first, but they gradually reshape your mental landscape. Your new wealth narrative should extend beyond simple accumulation to encompass your broader vision of prosperity. What impact do you want your wealth to have? How will your financial success enable you to contribute to others? By weaving purpose and meaning into your money story, you create a narrative that motivates you at a deeper level than mere numbers in a bank account. This rewritten narrative becomes the lens through which you view every financial situation. It shapes your interpretation of challenges, your recognition of opportunities, and your belief in what's possible. As you consistently live from this new story, your brain begins to adapt, creating new neural pathways that support your wealth identity. Your revised narrative becomes not just a story you tell yourself, but the operating system through which you create your financial reality. Lesson 3. Mental Habits of the Millionaire Mind. The most striking difference between millionaires and those struggling financially isn't their bank account balance. It's how they process information and make decisions. Wealthy people have developed distinct mental patterns that consistently lead them toward prosperity, often without conscious effort. These thought habits become as natural as breathing, creating an automatic path toward wealth accumulation. At the core of the millionaire mind is an unwavering focus on opportunities rather than obstacles. Where others see problems, the wealthy see potential solutions waiting to be monetized. This opportunity-seeking mindset operates continuously, scanning the environment for possibilities that others might miss. It's like having a sophisticated radar system that detects financial potential in everyday situations. Millionaires also possess a remarkable ability to make decisions without complete information. They understand that waiting for perfect conditions often means missing opportunities entirely. Instead, they gather essential data, assess the core risks, and move forward with calculated confidence. This decisiveness comes from trusting their judgment and accepting that some degree of uncertainty is inherent in any worthwhile venture. The wealthy approach failure differently too. Rather than viewing setbacks as terminal events, they see them as valuable data points in their wealth-building journey. Each unsuccessful attempt provides crucial information about what doesn't work, bringing them closer to what does. This perspective transforms failure from a feared outcome into a necessary step towards success, removing the emotional sting that paralyzes many in their financial pursuit. Risk assessment in the millionaire mind operates on a sophisticated level. Instead of the binary safe or dangerous thinking that characterizes most people's financial decisions, wealthy people evaluate risk on a spectrum. They consider both the potential downside and the opportunity cost of not acting. This nuanced approach to risk enables them to take calculated chances that others might automatically reject. Perhaps most importantly, millionaires maintain a long-term perspective while managing short-term actions. They understand that true wealth is built through consistent application of sound principles over time. This patience doesn't mean they move slowly. Rather, they take decisive action while remaining emotionally detached from immediate results. They trust in the compound effect of their decisions and actions. The wealthy also practice what might be called abundance mathematics. They multiply rather than divide. When faced with opportunities, they look for ways to expand the total pie rather than fighting over existing slices. This collaborative mindset opens doors to partnerships and possibilities that remain invisible to those trapped in zero-sum thinking. Another crucial mental habit is the automatic rejection of artificial limitations. When presented with conventional wisdom about what's possible or realistic, millionaires instinctively question these constraints. They understand that most limitations exist only in people's minds and can be transcended through creative thinking and persistent action. These mental habits aren't innate, they're learned and cultivated through conscious practice until they become automatic. The key is to begin implementing these thought patterns in small ways, gradually expanding their application across all areas of financial decision-making. Start by catching yourself in moments of scarcity thinking and consciously shifting to opportunity-focused thoughts. Practice making decisions with incomplete information in low-stakes situations to build your confidence. Learn to extract lessons from every financial outcome, positive or negative. The millionaire mind isn't a mysterious gift bestowed upon a lucky few. It's a set of mental habits that anyone can develop through consistent practice and conscious awareness. By adopting these thought patterns and allowing them to become your default way of processing financial information, you begin to automatically think in ways that generate wealth. Lesson 4. Firing and wiring abundant thoughts. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on your thoughts, experiences, and behaviors. This remarkable ability, known as neuroplasticity, is the key to transforming your financial mindset from scarcity to abundance. Every time you think a thought, you're either strengthening existing neural pathways or creating new ones. When it comes to wealth consciousness, this means you have the power to literally reshape your brain's architecture to support prosperous thinking. The process of rewiring your brain for wealth begins with conscious attention to your current thought patterns. Each time you catch yourself in a limiting financial thought, you have an opportunity to create a new neural pathway. Instead of allowing your mind to travel down the well-worn road of "I can't afford it" or "money is hard to come by," you can consciously choose to fire different neurons by thinking, "I'm open to new ways of creating wealth," or "money flows to me easily and frequently." The strength of these new neural pathways depends on repetition and emotional intensity. When you combine a wealth-affirming thought with positive emotion, you create a more powerful and lasting impact on your brain's circuitry. This is why simply thinking about money isn't enough. You need to feel the excitement, joy, and confidence associated with financial abundance. Your brain doesn't distinguish between real and imagined experiences, so visualizing yourself making successful investments, receiving unexpected income, or achieving your financial goals while feeling positive emotions creates real neural changes. This rewiring process follows a predictable pattern: fire, wire, and inspire. First, you fire new neurons by thinking wealthy thoughts. Then you wire these pathways through consistent repetition. Finally, you inspire lasting change by attaching positive emotions to these new thought patterns. This three-step process creates a self-reinforcing cycle that gradually transforms your default financial thinking. The science of thought momentum plays a crucial role in this transformation. Just as a snowball grows larger as it rolls downhill, each abundant thought makes the next one easier. Your brain begins to naturally seek evidence that supports your new wealth-oriented thinking. You'll start noticing opportunities you previously missed, feel more confident in your financial decisions, and take actions aligned with your prosperity mindset. Creating these new neural pathways requires dedicated practice. Set aside time each day to consciously generate abundant thoughts. Use triggers in your environment to remind you to think prosperously. When you check your bank account, pause to imagine it growing. When you make a purchase, focus on the abundance that allows you to acquire what you need and want. When you receive money, amplify your feelings of gratitude and expectation of more to come. Your old scarcity pathways didn't develop overnight, and neither will your new abundance circuits. The key is persistence and patience. Each time you redirect a scarcity thought to an abundant one, you're physically changing your brain's structure. Over time, these new pathways become stronger while the old ones weaken from disuse. Your brain gradually adopts abundance as its default operating system. The most powerful way to accelerate this rewiring process is through immersive experiences. Surround yourself with wealth-minded people, read books about financial success, attend seminars on wealth creation, and engage in conversations about prosperity. Each exposure to wealth-oriented thinking strengthens your new neural pathways and makes abundant thoughts more natural and automatic. Your brain's neuroplasticity is a gift that allows you to consciously create the mindset you desire. By understanding and applying the principles of neural reconditioning, you can systematically transform your financial thinking. Every abundant thought is a step toward rewiring your brain for wealth, and every day presents countless opportunities to strengthen these new prosperity pathways. Lesson 5. Interrupting limiting loops. Our minds are like computers running thousands of background processes, many of which are limiting loops that sabotage our financial potential. These mental loops, often installed during childhood or through challenging experiences, play on repeat without our conscious awareness. They manifest as thoughts like, "I'll never be wealthy," "Rich people are greedy," or "Money doesn't last in my hand." These limiting loops create a self-fulfilling prophecy, directing our actions and decisions to align with our restricted financial beliefs. When we encounter an opportunity, these loops activate automatically, generating fear, doubt, or dismissal before we can rationally evaluate the situation. It's like having a vigilant but misguided security system that blocks both threats and opportunities indiscriminately. The key to breaking free from these patterns lies in developing pattern interruption awareness. Start by becoming a detective of your own thoughts, particularly when making financial decisions. Notice when your mind automatically jumps to worst-case scenarios or dismisses potential opportunities. These are your limiting loops in action. The mere act of catching these thoughts creates a momentary pause, a critical gap between stimulus and response where change becomes possible. Cognitive diffusion techniques offer powerful tools for interrupting these patterns. When a limiting thought arises, imagine it written on a billboard driving past you, or spoken in a cartoon character's voice. This simple act creates emotional distance from the thought, reducing its power over your decisions. Another effective approach involves naming your limiting loop when it appears. "Ah, there's my money always runs out story again." This naming practice helps you recognize these thoughts as habitual stories rather than absolute truths. Breaking emotional attachments to limitation requires understanding that your limiting beliefs served a purpose at one time, perhaps protecting you from financial risk or helping you fit in with your family's money culture. Acknowledge these beliefs with compassion while recognizing that they no longer serve your current goals and aspirations. This emotional release creates space for new, more empowering thought patterns to emerge. Creating choice points in automatic thinking is crucial for lasting change. Each time you catch a limiting loop, treat it as a fork in the mental road. You can either follow the familiar path of limitation or consciously choose a different response. Ask yourself, what would someone who is confident about money think in this situation? Or, how would a wealthy person approach this decision? These questions interrupt the automatic loop and introduce new possibilities. The brain's neuroplasticity means that every time you interrupt a limiting loop and choose a different response, you weaken the old neural pathway and strengthen a new one. This process is similar to creating a new trail through an overgrown field. Each time you walk the new path, it becomes clearer and easier to follow. With consistent practice, your new thought patterns become the default, and the old limiting loops fade into the background. Your financial future is too important to leave at the mercy of outdated mental programming. By actively identifying and interrupting these limiting loops, you create space for abundance-oriented thinking to take root. Each interrupted pattern represents a small victory in your journey toward financial freedom, and these victories compound over time to transform your relationship with money. The wealthiest people aren't free from limiting thoughts. They're simply better at recognizing and redirecting them toward more empowering alternatives. Lesson 6. Installing prosperity pathways. Your mind is like a sophisticated operating system that can be programmed to recognize and attract wealth opportunities automatically. Just as your smartphone runs countless processes in the background without conscious input, your brain can be configured to constantly scan for and process prosperity-building opportunities. The key lies in deliberately installing new mental models that make wealth attraction your default mode of thinking. These prosperity pathways begin with understanding that wealth is everywhere, flowing constantly through our interconnected world. When you install this base operating belief, you start noticing lucrative possibilities that were always present but previously filtered out by your mental programming. Think of how a new car owner suddenly notices the same model everywhere. Your brain's reticular activating system has been primed to spot what you've designated as important. The installation process requires creating clear mental frameworks for recognizing value creation opportunities. Start by examining how wealthy people in your field or industry identify and leverage opportunities. What patterns do they ask? What questions do they ask? Build these same filtering mechanisms into your daily thought processes. Train yourself to automatically evaluate situations through the lens of how could this create or multiply value. Your prosperity protocols should extend beyond mere opportunity recognition into robust decision-making frameworks. Install mental checkpoints that automatically evaluate potential actions against wealth-building criteria. Rather than making financial decisions based on emotion or impulse, your mind should automatically run scenarios through filters like scalability, leverage potential, resource optimization, and long-term value creation. The true power of prosperity pathways emerges when you hardwire wealth automation into your thinking patterns. This means developing mental triggers that automatically redirect you toward abundance-generating behaviors. When faced with expenses, your mind should automatically search for ways to turn them into investments. When encountering problems, your thinking should default to exploring how solutions could be monetized. When considering uses of time, your brain should automatically calculate opportunity costs and ROI. Think of these pathways as mental algorithms that run continuously in your cognitive background. They should process information through prosperity filters without requiring conscious effort, much like how you don't actively think about maintaining balance while walking. This level of automation comes through consistent practice and reinforcement of wealth-oriented thinking patterns. The neural networks supporting these prosperity pathways strengthen through regular activation. Each time you consciously direct your mind toward wealth-building thoughts, you reinforce these mental circuits. Every instance of reframing limiting thoughts into abundant ones deepens these cognitive grooves. The goal is to make prosperity thinking your brain's path of least resistance. Your installed prosperity pathways should also include automatic triggers for opportunity research and learning. Train your mind to constantly seek out new knowledge and skills that could create value. Build mental algorithms that automatically connect different pieces of information into potential profit centers. Program your brain to regularly scan your existing knowledge, skills, and resources for new ways to generate wealth. Consider these prosperity pathways as your mental wealth-building infrastructure. Just as a city's road system determines the flow of traffic, your mental pathways determine the flow of wealth-generating thoughts and actions. The more robust and interconnected these pathways become, the more automatically your mind moves in the direction of abundance and opportunity. Through consistent reinforcement and practice, these prosperity protocols become your natural way of thinking, making wealth attraction an inherent part of your mental operating system. Lesson 7. Rebooting with affirmations and action. The journey of mental transformation requires more than just positive self-talk. It demands a perfect fusion of powerful declarations and purposeful action. Traditional affirmations often fall short because they float in isolation, disconnected from tangible reality. The key to creating lasting change lies in understanding that our brains require evidence to accept new programming. Think of affirmations as the installation commands for your mental operating system. But unlike computer software that simply needs to be told what to do, your brain needs proof that the new programming is valid. This is where the critical marriage of affirmations and action comes into play. Each time you pair a powerful statement with a corresponding action, you create a neural pathway that strengthens your new wealth identity. Consider the difference between simply stating, "I am a magnet for wealth," versus declaring, "I am a magnet for wealth," while actively seeking and pursuing investment opportunities. The latter creates a feedback loop where your actions provide evidence for your affirmations, and your affirmations inspire more aligned actions. This synergistic relationship builds momentum that can transform your financial reality. The most effective affirmations are those that bridge your current reality with your desired state. Rather than making grandiose statements that your subconscious immediately rejects, create progressive affirmations that feel believable yet stretching. For instance, if you're currently struggling financially, start with, "I'm learning to make smart money decisions every day," rather than, "I am a millionaire." As you take actions that support this statement, you can gradually upgrade your affirmations to match your expanding financial consciousness. Your brain is constantly scanning for evidence to support or refute your beliefs. When you take action that aligns with your wealth affirmations, you're providing concrete proof that validates your new programming. Each small win, whether it's negotiating a better deal, finding an unexpected opportunity, or making a wise investment choice, becomes a data point that strengthens your prosperity mindset. Action affirmations are particularly powerful. Instead of random repetition, link your affirmations to specific daily activities. When you check your bank account, affirm, "I make wise choices that grow my wealth." While reviewing investment opportunities, declare, "I recognize and seize profitable ventures." These contextual affirmations become anchored in real-world situations, making them more effective at rewiring your thought patterns. The transformation process accelerates when you document the evidence of your new beliefs taking hold. Keep a success journal where you record instances of your affirmations manifesting in reality. Note how your decision-making improves, how opportunities seem to appear more frequently, and how your relationship with money becomes healthier. This documented evidence creates a powerful reference point for your brain, reinforcing that your new wealthy identity is real and expanding. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between actual experiences and vividly imagined ones. Use this to your advantage by combining your affirmations with detailed visualization of taking prosperous actions. See yourself confidently making investment decisions, negotiating deals, and managing substantial wealth. This mental rehearsal, paired with real-world action steps, creates a compelling blueprint for your brain to follow. As your affirmations and actions align more consistently, you'll notice a shift in your automatic responses to financial situations. What once triggered stress or scarcity thinking now activates your wealth-building protocols. Your new programming becomes your default operating system, and prosperity thinking flows naturally. This is the power of properly integrated affirmations. They don't just change your thoughts, they transform your entire financial identity. Lesson 8. Thinking beyond your bank account. True wealth transcends the mere numbers in your bank account. It's an expansive state of being that encompasses all areas of life. When you begin to think beyond monetary measurements, you open yourself to a broader definition of prosperity that accelerates both your financial and personal growth. The wealthiest people understand that authentic abundance flows from multiple sources. relationships, experiences, personal growth, contribution to others, and the cultivation of valuable skills and knowledge. They recognize that focusing solely on financial metrics creates a narrow perspective that can actually limit wealth creation. By expanding your prosperity consciousness to include these non-monetary aspects, you create a more robust foundation for attracting and maintaining material wealth. Consider how your relationships can be a form of wealth. Strong connections with family, friends, mentors, and business associates represent social capital that often translates into opportunities, support, and resources. These relationships provide emotional security and practical assistance that money alone cannot buy. When you view your network as part of your wealth portfolio, you naturally invest more time and energy into building meaningful connections that compound in value over time. Experiences and memories constitute another dimension of wealth that exists independently of your financial status. Travel, learning, cultural encounters, and personal challenges all contribute to your experiential wealth. These adventures and discoveries shape your worldview, enhance your decision-making capabilities, and provide inspiration for innovative ideas. Wealthy thinking involves recognizing that investing in experiences often yields greater returns than material purchases. Knowledge and skills represent a form of wealth that can never be taken away. Unlike money in the bank, which can fluctuate or disappear, your intellectual capital appreciates over time and generates compound returns through practical application. When you view education and skill development as wealth-building activities, you become more motivated to continuously expand your capabilities and expertise. Your health and vitality are crucial components of your wealth portfolio. Without physical and mental well-being, financial resources lose much of their utility. Wealthy thinking involves treating your health as a valuable asset that requires regular investment through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and stress management. This investment pays dividends in enhanced energy, clarity, and longevity, all essential for building and enjoying material wealth. Time and attention represent perhaps the most valuable forms of wealth in today's fast-paced world. The ability to control your schedule, focus your mental energy, and choose how you spend your moments is a luxury that many financially rich people lack. Developing the capacity to manage these intangible assets effectively creates space for wealth-generating activities and life-enriching experience. The impact you have on others and your contribution to the world constitute a form of wealth that provides deep satisfaction and often leads to unexpected opportunities. When you shift from a mindset of accumulation to one of creation and contribution, you activate powerful forces of reciprocity. The value you provide to others frequently returns multiplied in various forms, including financial reward. Your creative capacity represents infinite potential wealth. Ideas, innovations, and solutions can be generated without limit, and each has the potential to create substantial value. When you recognize your creative faculty as a wealth-generating asset, you become more attuned to opportunities and more confident in your ability to solve problems and create value. Spiritual wealth, your sense of purpose, connection to something greater than yourself, and inner peace, provides a stable foundation for material prosperity. This dimension of wealth helps you maintain perspective during financial challenges and guides you toward meaningful ways to use your resources. A wealthy mind recognizes that alignment with your higher purpose naturally attracts the resources needed to fulfill that purpose. By expanding your definition of wealth beyond monetary measurements, you create multiple channels for abundance to flow into your life. This broader perspective reduces anxiety about financial metrics while paradoxically making it easier to achieve them. True prosperity emerges when you recognize and cultivate all forms of wealth available to you. Lesson 9. Programming for Daily Wealth Wins. Success in wealth creation isn't about occasional grand victories. It's about programming your mind to recognize, create, and capitalize on daily wins that compound over time. This fundamental shift in perspective transforms how you interact with money and opportunity on a moment-to-moment basis. Think of your mind as a sophisticated computer that needs the right programming to identify and process wealth-building opportunities. Just as a well-programmed algorithm can spot patterns in data, your mind can be trained to automatically detect financial possibilities in everyday situations. This doesn't mean turning into a calculating machine. Rather, it's about developing an intuitive sense for value creation that becomes as natural as breathing. The first step in programming for daily wealth wins is establishing your wealth metrics. While most people focus solely on dollars and cents, true wealth programming encompasses multiple currencies, time, energy, relationships, knowledge, and opportunities. When you expand your definition of what constitutes a win, you'll find yourself achieving multiple victories throughout each day, building momentum and confidence in your wealth-building journey. Your brain's reticular activating system has a crucial role in this programming process. This neural network acts as a filter, bringing to your attention what you've programmed it to notice. By consciously directing your RAS to spot wealth-building opportunities, you'll begin seeing possibilities that were always there but previously invisible to you. A simple conversation might reveal a business opportunity, or a routine task could inspire an innovative solution worth monetizing. Implementing daily wealth triggers helps cement this programming. These are specific moments or activities in your day that prompt wealth-building thoughts or actions. For instance, make it a habit to ask yourself, how can I create value here, whenever you encounter a problem or inefficiency? Train yourself to think, what's the opportunity cost, before making any financial decision. These mental triggers become automatic with practice, creating a constant stream of wealth-building awareness. The power of micro-decisions cannot be overstated in daily wealth programming. Every small choice, from how you spend your morning to whether you take that extra meeting, shapes your financial trajectory. Program yourself to evaluate these decisions through the lens of wealth building. Does this choice move you closer to or further from your financial goals? Does it represent an investment in your future or a drain on your resources? Social programming also plays a vital role. Your mind naturally attunes itself to the frequencies of those around you. Deliberately expose yourself to wealth-building conversations, communities, and content. Engage with people who think bigger than you do. Their perspectives and attitudes will begin to influence your own daily thought patterns and decision-making processes. Regular calibration of your wealth programming ensures its effectiveness. At the end of each day, review your wins, no matter how small. What opportunities did you spot? What value did you create? What connections did you make? This reflection reinforces your programming and helps refine your wealth detection abilities. It also builds a database of personal evidence that strengthens your belief in your ability to create wealth. Emotional programming is equally important as logical programming. Train yourself to feel genuine excitement about wealth-building activities, to find joy in saving and investing, to experience satisfaction in making smart financial choices. When your emotional system is aligned with your wealth goals, you'll find yourself naturally drawn to activities and decisions that support your financial growth. This programming isn't about becoming obsessed with money. It's about developing an operating system that automatically processes life through a lens of opportunity and abundance. When properly programmed, your mind becomes an ally in wealth creation, working continuously to identify and capitalize on the daily wins that, over time, create extraordinary results. Lesson 10. Making the rich mind your default. The ultimate goal of your mental reboot isn't just to think differently about wealth, it's to make abundant thinking your natural state. When prosperity consciousness becomes your default operating system, you no longer have to consciously override limiting thoughts or deliberately choose abundant perspectives. Instead, your mind automatically processes life through the lens of possibility, opportunity, and wealth creation. This level of mental transformation occurs when you've successfully integrated and embodied all the previous principles in this book. Your new neural pathways have become superhighways of prosperity thinking, and your former scarcity loops have faded into obsolescence through lack of use. The rich mind becomes your comfortable home base, the natural starting point from which you view every situation and make every decision. Consider how your smartphone or computer operates on its default settings. These aren't consciously chosen each time you power up. They're the automatic parameters that shape your device's performance. Similarly, your mental defaults determine how you instinctively respond to financial situations, interpret market conditions, and evaluate opportunities. When abundance is your default, you naturally seek ways to expand rather than contract, invest rather than withhold, and create rather than consume. The process of cementing your rich mind as default requires consistent reinforcement through both thought and action. Each time you make a decision aligned with prosperity consciousness, you strengthen these neural defaults. Every investment you make, risk you take, or opportunity you pursue further establishes abundance as your baseline. Your brain begins to expect success, anticipate growth, and assume possibility, not through forced positive thinking, but as its natural orientation. This default prosperity mindset manifests in subtle but powerful ways. You'll find yourself automatically considering the upside potential and market downturns. Your first response to new business ideas will be, "How can this work?" rather than, "Why this won't work." You'll instinctively seek ways to scale and multiply your successes instead of settling for incremental gains. These reactions become reflexive rather than requiring conscious effort. Your relationship with money also transforms at this default level. Rather than seeing money as something to chase, hoard, or worry about, you experience it as a natural flow of energy that responds to your intentions and actions. You move beyond the artificial construct of rich versus poor thinking and into a state of genuine financial freedom, where money serves as a tool for creating value and impact in the world. The sustainability of your rich mind default depends on maintaining strong boundaries around your mental environment. Just as you would protect your computer from viruses and malware, you must guard your prosperity consciousness from toxic influences, negative programming, and scarcity-based social conditioning. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from reality, but rather choosing to process information through your abundance filter. Building redundancy into your mental system helps maintain your prosperity defaults even during challenging times. This means having multiple streams of abundant thinking, various sources of inspiration, and diverse networks of like-minded people who reinforce your wealthy mindset. When one support system experiences temporary disruption, others maintain your default settings until balance is restored. Your rich mind default ultimately becomes self-reinforcing through the results it generates. As your abundant thinking creates tangible prosperity in your life, these outcomes validate and strengthen your mental programming. Success breeds success, wealth attracts wealth, and your prosperity consciousness gains momentum through its own manifestations. You enter a positive spiral where your default mindset naturally expands into greater levels of abundance without effort or strain. Living from this default state of prosperity consciousness transforms not just your financial reality, but your entire life experience. You operate from a place of expansive possibility rather than contracted limitation. Your decisions flow from abundance rather than fear. Your actions spring from opportunity rather than scarcity, and your impact grows from a place of natural wealth rather than forced striving.